Welcome, Monica.
Hi, Shefali. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
All right, so let's get started. I'm Shefali Burns. I am interviewing Monica. Monica's in Colorado, and I am in Ottawa, Canada. And today we're going to talk a little bit about Monica and some of her conditions that she'd like to talk about and discuss with us. So, Monica, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself first?
Sure. Well, my M. Monica stands for Molly Monica, and you can call me Molly or Monica, whatever you like. I live in Colorado. I love the mountains. I love to read and write. And that's basically it.
Okay, so today, though, we wanted to talk about a little bit about your condition with lupus and your challenges with it, and generally to talk about what it is exactly, because I didn't know very much about it to begin with. I had obviously heard about lupus, and I'm trying to think if I actually knew anybody who personally who had it. I don't think I know very many people. But you also mentioned that it is an invisible disease. Or condition. So I wanted to discuss that too. What does that mean that it's invisible, and your experiences with it?
Right. Well, first of all, let me mention that lupus, many people have heard about lupus, and they've heard at least the word. They don't know exactly what type of illness it is or how it affects people. And since it's not easy to comprehend, and in fact the immune system itself is not very easy to understand. Like this whole concept of an invisible system that basically helps us fight off illnesses is kind of hard to understand because you can't see it. But basically it's part of every living being, and if you have an impaired immune system, such as happens in cases of lupus, it also happens in cases of HIV and AIDS, you catch all of the stuff that you come into contact with because you have no defense against it. So a lot of the stuff I deal with lupus is this other stuff that attacks me because my immune system is being suppressed to help control the lupus. Does that make any sense?
Okay, so it is an autoimmune disease, autoimmune deficiency disease.
Right.
Something like that, right? But
well, it's not actually a deficiency. Lupus itself is a condition in which your immune system, for some reason, which they don't understand, decides to attack your own body. And because it can attack basically anything in the body, because your immune system is, through your entire body, it's with, all your organs, it controls everything. I mean, it can attack an organ, it could attack your blood system, which happened to me when I was a teenager. And this is why they, basically first started using high-dose steroids to basically shut my immune system down, because I had hemolytic anemia, and that's a condition in which blood cells are basically destroying themselves. So they put me on high-dose prednisone to stop my own body from attacking itself. And so basically, as a result of the treatment, you have an immunodeficiency.
Okay. And how long have you been dealing with this? I think when we talked about it, it's been for quite a while, since you were a teenager, right? That's when you first developed it?
Yeah, I was diagnosed at age 15, and so basically, it's been the majority of my life. I don't remember very much, like being well. Like, I have no memory of being a healthy adult. So a lot of my perceptions are colored by that. Like I don't really know what it's like to be a normal person who doesn't take medication every day. And sometimes I have to remember that, like what it's like to be a normal person. A lot of times I just don't talk about it because I realize that it's so complicated that it's hard for people to understand. So I just, it's hard to explain.
So what is your daily life? Can you just tell us day to day what it's like to live with lupus?
Okay. Well, my particular condition, I have a lot of other conditions that have developed as a result of lupus, and those include fibromyalgia, a clotting disorder, which is called anticardiolipin antibody syndrome, if anybody medical is watching. I'm blind in this eye. I also have cataracts. but they're very faint. I have a syncope issue, so when I stand up for a long time, I pass out. A long time being more than like 3 or 4 minutes, but I can stand and walk for short periods. And Raynaud's disease. So all of these conditions are very hard to manage in total because sometimes what makes one better will make another worse. So normally I'm in, quite a lot of pain. On the scale of 1 to 10, I would say an average day is about a 7. The days that are really horrible are just, like a 10. But, luckily, there's usually not like a whole lot of those days altogether. Like normally I'll just have like a very painful day and then I'll have a couple days that are more tolerable. When I wake up in the morning, I have to use this handy daily medicine container to like sort out what medications I take. And there's a lot of them. I'm on maybe 20 medications, including the supplements, for all the different conditions. And some of those help with the arthritis pain. Some of them help shut down my immune system. And some of them are just like vitamins. Wow, that's a lot. Yeah. I can't imagine taking so many pills or being in pain every day, for example. Like we talked about this before, and I mentioned that I used to suffer from migraines a lot. And I remember, going for weeks at a time, having my migraine every single day. And then I've noticed now for about the past 2 months, 3 months, I haven't had any. It's like, wow, this is what it feels like to not have pain, right? But right. You have pain every day, you know? So it's that can be quite debilitating and draining in itself. Just the pain, not the other conditions, but just pain in itself is quite debilitating. How do you deal with that? It, like I said, it's so draining. Well,
I don't hard. Think I could do it. I feel like chronic pain changes your personality over time. Like I feel like I'm much more quiet now than I used to be, and less energetic. Every once in a while, you might see me in Hangout where I get really excited. Like that's a lot more like what I used to be. Mm-hmm. But it's really hard to be energetic when you're in all this pain all the time. And like right now, when you're in pain all the time, you become adjusted to it. So like right now, I'd have to focus on it. But when I focus on it, I realize that there's pain in 2 different parts of my brain. There's no arthritis pain right now. Mostly just pain in my head right now. So like I don't even notice. You know what I mean? Like you don't even have a monitor going on right in the background telling you what types of pain you're in. Like it just becomes kind of automatic. So at least it's something you adjust to. But it is definitely a factor in everything that I do. So.
I mean, I know for myself, when I used to have migraines and so on, I would become cranky, and cranky me is not a fun person to be around, right? So I know you have a fiance, and I know he's been very supportive. So how is it for him helping you deal with these issues?
Well, he's actually right here right now. So I will just say that he's immensely supportive. And quite honestly, I don't think I'd be alive without his support, just because I have to deal with way too much, and I can't deal with it on my own.
Right.
But this is
Hello.
Nathan.
Hi, Nathan.
Hey.
Thank you for being here.
My support system and everything to me. So, like having him to rely on is the best thing I've got going for me. And he helps me with my medications. He helps me to get to doctor appointments. And a lot of times, one of the bad things about chronic pain is that, like, when it becomes super bad, I get really confused and, like, I will forget stuff very easily. Mm-hmm. And, like, he is a really helpful backup and can help me, like, remember stuff that I said. Like, sometimes I'll tell him, like, I just
for example, I just started an antibiotic, and I said, like, oh, I'm going to have to take this 4 times a day. Like, I don't think I'll remember to take this tomorrow morning. Can you help me remember? And so he did help me remember. And
oh, that's wonderful, Nathan. I mean, it takes a lot of strength to be as supportive as you have been. I'm sure that because, you know, being supportive to somebody that you care about and love, it seems easy, but when they have these conditions and challenges, it really can be quite difficult. So, you know, my heart goes out to you both for everything that you're going through, and I just think it's wonderful that you have such a support system, Monica. It's fantastic. So I know Monica appreciates it for sure, but even us as her friends, you know, there's not much we can do being so far away, right? You know, being on the internet and so on. So it's really nice to see that you have such loving support from Nathan.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you guys are a huge support system for me, because Nathan's going to have to leave. But you guys are a huge support system. I was so lonely before Google Plus. Like, I would read all the time, but, like, I'm a really social person. And unfortunately, this is contradictory to my disease. Like, the more I'm out in crowds, the more I interact with people, the more likely I am to get sick. And so being in Hangout is extremely healthy for me mentally, but also physically, because I can't catch anything, but I can interact with people and, like, feel like a normal person, you know? Like, I don't know.
I mean, we've known each other now for a couple of months, and it's because of Google Plus and these Hangouts, right? We wouldn't have met any other way. And I know that you have made many friends, and you are quite an active engager on Google Plus. You know, the support that we do get from our friends on Google Plus and the Hangouts is amazing. I don't think people that are not hanging out, they don't understand it, and they don't realize the significance of the support system that we have. I mean, people on Google Plus and the Hangouts that we hang out with every day on a regular basis, they've become our family, you know, and we're so close to them. It's like the real thing. So tell me a little bit more about that. Who do you hang out with, and who do you know, talk to all the time that is making your life a little bit better here on Google Plus?
Well, I don't know. If I had to summarize my interests, like, I would say everything. Like, I love to hang out. I love to just pop into a new Hangout and see who's hanging out. So I've met so many. I couldn't even name every single person that I've hung out with that has impacted my life here. But I've seen so many different cool interactions on Hangout and had so many life-changing conversations that it's just been amazing to me. And it's really given me hope that, like, my main concern with my disease is that I would love for my story to benefit people in the future, or people that are suffering right now, because lupus is a really tricky disease to deal with, and basically any autoimmune condition is really tough, not only to get a diagnosis, but to get support, because even doctors are, you know, they know that it's a real condition, but a lot of times they don't know how to treat it, and it's puzzling to them. So I feel like if any of this story can help someone, you know, it'll have been a good thing.
I totally agree. And, like, you know, like your story, for example. No, I know it's not. No, but I mean, like with you, for example, because you have this condition, this disease, you've said that it is difficult to go out into public and interact with people, right? And so if somebody has lupus and they can't interact with people, it can make them more introverted, make them more shy, and you know, it can cause depression as well. But being around Google Plus and in these Hangouts, you get to interact, you know, with all sorts of different people, so you're not so alone. You don't feel so alone, right?
Right. So, and I want to say to people watching, like, if you have a relative or a friend with lupus, basically don't worry. Like, I am a worst case scenario. So don't worry that, like, your friend is going to end up with all these conditions. Like, unfortunately, a lot of things went wrong in my case, and it's very severe. But a lot of lupus patients can look forward to, you know, treatment working for them and maybe getting to remission, and not this severe pain that I'm talking about. So I don't want to alarm anyone, like, this is not a typical lupus scenario.
Mm-hmm.
But lupus is, in and of itself, can be very depressing for many people who have it. And many people still do try. Many people who have lupus are not fully disabled. They'll try and work through it. But it can be very tough because a lot of times they'll run out of energy.
Mm-hmm.
And many of their coworkers won't understand, or their friends, or say their spouse, like if they've been diagnosed recently, basically they won't understand why the person with lupus has such low energy. And it's basically because your immune system is, not supporting you fully, which can be really detrimental. Even if you don't have such a severe case, it can be really tough.
So, the point of this interview was to bring more awareness to the disease, to lupus and your challenges in itself, and also to show people that, like you are a prime example of someone who is dealing with a condition, but you're always so positive and motivating to other people, which is fantastic. I love to see that. I've never seen you down and depressed or, anything like that. You're always positive. You always have something nice to say. You're always smiling,
I get depressed earlier this week, and this is funny. Like, this is the one way to depress me. Like, the doctor had told me that I might have to be hospitalized next week in order to get I have to get a transfusion of immunoglobulin, which is this is complicated. It's a part of the blood that your body needs in order to boost your immune system, because mine is so low that I can't generate any antibodies to fight off anything anymore. So, like, if you give me a flu shot, it won't work anymore. Okay. So the doctor was like, we might, we're going to have to put you in the hospital and give you this transfusion, and you might have to, stay overnight. And my big concern is that the hospital, last time I was there, this particular hospital didn't allow a lot of internet access. They had blocked most sites, including Gmail and GChat, because they said, and when I was really upset, like, this is the one way to get me really upset is to block my internet access, especially when I'm in the hospital. Yeah. But they said, like, the reason was so that hospital employees didn't, like, use the internet while they were working.
Right, but I can't imagine. Like for you, because you are so connected to so many different people on the internet, it would be a loss for us to have you go missing for a day or two.
Yeah, I'm going to try not to go to that hospital. I'm really going to fight to go to the other one.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah, and, like, as for staying positive, this is hard to explain, but, like, when you're in a lot of pain and when so much has been taken from you, at least your focus is sharpened and you see what's important. And, like, I fully know that my life expectancy is not very long, but that means that every single day and every single sunset that I see, I remember it, like, I can appreciate it and I fully value it. And so, like, I don't know, I'm sometimes really taken aback by just being here. I live in a beautiful town in Colorado, and I just, to see all this stuff is really cool.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. You're living in the moment and you're appreciating every moment. That's what we all should aspire to do. Live in the moment and appreciate every moment, because life is a gift. Every moment is a gift. So that is wonderful that you can continue to stay so positive amidst your challenges. I'm so honored to know you and have you be a part of my life. I have down days, but it's like, really, what do I have to complain about? Nothing, right? So when I look at you and I think of you, automatically it's like, oh, what am I worrying about? Just appreciate what you have and enjoy it. Enjoy life, live it, have fun, and that's what you're doing. As much as you can, that's what you're trying to do, and appreciate it. And that is the right attitude. I love it. I really, really do.
Yeah, and I just looked at the comments on some of my I had shared your post, and someone had mentioned, like, do I do natural treatment for my disease as well? And yes, I do. I do incorporate natural treatment as well as the traditional drug treatment in, and it does help For example, I take glutamine, which is a digestive enzyme which helps with some of the digestive stuff, and I also, when the insurance covered it, I tried acupuncture, but unfortunately Medicaid does not cover that anymore, but it did work really well. Normally, like the doctors will throw traditional medicines at you and you get tons and tons of side effects, but I try and balance that with eating healthy and, just being as healthy as I can.
And that is the right thing to do. I mean, you can't just go with the traditional medicine and the traditional doctors. There are alternative therapies and alternative, not medications per se, but treatments that are available out there. So perhaps when we post this video on Google Plus and on YouTube, maybe we will get some more comments from other people who have ideas and tips and techniques that will help others as well that are dealing with lupus.
Right.
Because right now, I mean, everything that there's always something new that we're learning. There's always something new that people are trying. And if something works for one person, it may work for someone else as well. And that's the point of this interview, too, is to share your story so that other people can learn from it. And, and maybe they can understand what it's like for a person that's dealing with lupus, living with lupus, and how to help that person that is dealing with it, and living with it.
Right. And one thing that I wanted to talk about is basically everyone always wonders, like, why do I use a wheelchair when, like I can stand up? And I just wanted to clarify that the wheelchair is basically so that I don't pass out without knowing, that I'm going to pass out and get massive, like, head trauma. Unfortunately, I developed this syncope issue, and syncope is a term meaning, it's a miscommunication between my brain and my heart, and it makes my blood pressure drop to the point where I just pass out, I lose consciousness. And when that started happening, I tried to push through it. I hoped that, like, I could solve it, but unfortunately it worsened with time, and I reached the point where I had to choose to either, risk falling or go into a wheelchair. And I chose the wheelchair. I'm still adjusting to it. It's tough being in a wheelchair because, and that's another thing that I feel like everyone should be aware is wheelchair awareness. Like, a lot of places are still not, unfortunately, accessible. There have been 2 places I've tried to get to and haven't just been able to because they're not wheelchair accessible. And it's also that, sometimes people will come up to you, and especially little kids, they'll want to climb on your wheelchair and stuff, and especially if you're having a painful day, that's not super great.
No, of course not.
But, but basically people in a wheelchair are just like anyone else, and it's a difficult adjustment, but one that's necessary to make sometimes.
If it helps you in your day-to-day living, then why not, right?
Right. I always fight against the fact that I really didn't want to have the wheelchair. And I still, sometimes I'm like, no, like I don't want to take the wheelchair today. And sometimes I can pull it off, but a lot of the times I end up, like just 2 days ago, I did that for an hour and then I passed out, and it was just not so good.
Yeah.
But, I make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes when dealing with an illness. And
that's how we learn, right?
Yeah. It's just how we learn.
Yeah. Well, this has been fantastic. I think this will help lots of people to get the information out, to get the awareness out about it. We will be doing another interview shortly about a different topic. But for now, thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm honored to have you as a friend, as I said earlier. And if there's ever anything that I can do, or anybody else that if sometimes people don't ask for help, but if there's anything we can do to support you and to help you, please do not hesitate to let us know at all, because we are here for you.
I wouldn't, but honestly, like, you guys do everything already. Like, I'm taking care of, what I can here, and basically you guys are my support system. And thank you so much for watching. Anyone that, that cared to watch and listen about lupus. I realize it's not an easy topic to talk about, and disability is never super fun to discuss, but I appreciate your taking the time to listen.
Yes, thank you. And it's important for people to hear this message and watch the video and share their comments and tips and techniques and so on. Whatever can help other people, that is most appreciated.
Exactly.
So thank you again, Monica.
Yeah.
And we'll talk again soon, right?
Yeah, feel free. Yeah, exactly. Anybody, feel free to leave me comments or suggestions on the post, because that's how a lot of my solutions have been found, by listening to other people. So, yeah.
Great. Thank you, and we'll talk soon.
Okay.
Ciao.
Good night.